Jeff, highest monthly payment you've ever seen?
$3,700.
I was working at Mazda and watching people get absolutely ripped off with their car finance every single day.
Tonight, it's never been more expensive to buy a new car. According to a report from Kelley Blue Book, the average price for a new vehicle has cracked the $50,000 mark for the first time ever.
So you already know what time it is. We have another de-influencing video talking about car payments. With $1,000 a month payments, 72 or 84 month term lengths, and the recent news that the average new car price just went over $50,000 each, we're only going to see these videos pop up on social media even more. We have a lot to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. And let's start off with the high payments, but I want you to specifically pay attention to the wording they're using.
What kind of car do you drive?
Mercedes C300.
And how much is your monthly payment?
$920.
Ooh. Lorenza,
Yes.
what kind of car do you drive?
Chevy Tahoe.
And how much is your monthly payment?
$810.
Oh no.
I know.
Justin,
Hey,
what kind of car do you drive?
2018 Tacoma,
And how much is your monthly payment?
$496.
That's not bad. Hey Dustin,
Yeah,
what kind of car do you drive?
a Range Rover Velar,
And how much is your monthly payment?
$760.
That's not bad. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 2024 F-150.
And what's your monthly payment?
$1,000.
Oh no. That's the worst one today.
Okay, so now the $1,000 car payments are bad, which I agree, but if you're talking $500 or even $700 a month, oh, that's not bad anymore, apparently, right? That's exactly what these dealerships are trying to make you think, because these deals just keep getting worse and worse. The payments are only going up. Some of the comments, I don't want to drive a mortgage payment, $800 plus for a Chevy Tahoe. They're trying to normalize high car payments. Please stop. I don't trust any car salesperson with a car payment above $500. We have a screenshot right here. I'm nosy. Tell me your car payment so I feel better about mine. $640 a month because I just had to have a panoramic roof that I never opened. $692. Just bought myself a 2025 Camry Hybrid. I know overall it's more reliable than most of the other vehicles people purchase today, but still you're talking about $700 for a Camry now. $856 because I just had to have a third row. I have one child and he's 13 and he usually sits up front. A picture perfect example of the mom car. A giant school bus looking SUV when you don't have enough kids to fit all of the seats, but it doesn't matter, you're going to be paying that $856 for 72 months, even 84, not including the insurance. By the time the car is finally yours and not the bank's, you don't even want the car anymore. LMAO. And that's how people get into the cycle of car payments for the rest of their lives. Another one, you guys in the comments are making the worst financial decisions I've ever seen. Someone had to have a third row even though they had one kid, just talking about the comment previously. I also work for a dealership and there's a lot of payments around $1,200 out there, so they just keep upping it higher and higher. $500 used to be a high car payment, then it was $800, now it's $1,000, $1,200 apparently, so anything under, you're getting a good deal. Yeah, sure you are. You guys are paying rent for your cars, might as well just live in them because that's all we could afford anymore. I have a lease, a 2024 BMW X1, the smallest SUV you could get, $850 a month. I don't even think about my bill. Just like the mortgage, I need a car, I need a home, still gotta pay them, so you had to get the base model BMW though, right? $850 a month sounds to me like you're just paying for the badge on the front and back of the vehicle. $960 a month and $630 a month for insurance. $1,500 a month for a vehicle. Oh man, $1,260, but I pay $1,400 just to knock off a couple of payments for a Tesla Model S. They must have gotten a Plaid, right? Even though they have heavily depreciated since they came out a few years ago. $781 for a 2025 Toyota GR86. $1,075, and I'm a financial advisor. Whoops. $1,897, and that's with 10% down, a 2025 F350. $2,000 a month. I hope at least it's a legitimate work truck. $598 for a 23 Kia Soul. A lot more than I wanted. Negative equity brought me into it. I mean, this keeps going on and on. There's almost 40,000 comments on this video, but we could just move on.
I was working at Mazda and watching people get absolutely ripped off with their car finance every single day. Customers would come in needing a car loan, and we had to mark up their interest rates by 2% just because it was legal so the company could make more money. I would see young people signing loans that they did not understand, paying thousands more than they needed to because nobody explained their options. And the worst part was I was part of that problem. I was trained to maximize profits, not help people get the best deal, and I literally couldn't sleep at night doing this job any longer. So I left and I became a finance broker. Now I compare 25 different lenders instead of pushing one bank's products. Everyone deserves better than bank speak and just one option. That's why I do what I do now.
So this was specifically Mazda, but you don't think every dealership does this? Every manufacturer? Because in comparison to most other brands, Mazda is kind of on the cheaper side right now. Virtually no vehicle is cheap whatsoever, but at least when we're talking about something like Toyotas, they are very expensive today. But it's their job to get you to pay as much as you possibly can so they could bring in that commission check and make the dealerships even more money. They are not going to be your friends. We have a comment from you guys. I love these car payment videos. They keep me happy with my 10-year-old fully paid off Mercedes that I bought in cash. Sometimes I get angsty and wish for a newer, nicer car with the latest and greatest tech, but after you see the 4-figure monthly payments become more and more common, you start becoming a lot more grateful with the car you currently have.
What's the highest car payment you've seen?
$1,200
On what?
Suburban.
Jeff, highest monthly payment you've ever seen?
$3,700.
What kind of car?
McLaren.
Probably 1,500 so far.
And what kind of vehicle was it?
That was a ZR2 Colorado.
$2,600 a month.
What kind of vehicle?
Genesis G90.
Okay.
$3,196 a month.
Wow. That's pretty high. What kind of car was it?
It was a Corvette E-Ray, financed the whole amount.
Nice.
No money down.
About $2,300 on a Corvette.
Probably about like 2,800, $2,700 around there.
On what kind of car?
Probably a commercial truck.
Probably $2,300, $2,200 a month.
What kind of car?
One was a Dodge Dually.
$2,600 for a Genesis. God bless them. That was probably the worst one out of that entire clip. I thought the Corvette payments were just as ridiculous, especially the one who financed it all. Couldn't come up with a down payment, but they absolutely wanted that C8. And as I said before, these prices are only rising higher and higher.
The economy tonight and are reporting on the prices you're paying for everything. Tonight here, the cost of a new car. What our reporter discovered on the car lot, the average price of a new vehicle in this country, and what's driving this. Here's Matt Rivers.
Tonight, it's never been more expensive to buy a new car. According to a report from Kelley Blue Book, the average price for a new vehicle has cracked the $50,000 mark for the first time ever.
It's shocking.
I think it's obscene.
And that's just what people paid. The average asking price, the MSRP for 2026 models, is even higher, more than $52,000. Talk about sticker shock. The study's authors writing, it was only a matter of time, especially when you consider the best-selling vehicle in America is a pickup truck from Ford that routinely costs north of $65,000. The report says the average price for a new Tesla is $54,138.
Now, I know at least that pickup trucks hold their value somewhat because they're utilitarian use. I'm not saying that it's a great value because almost all of them are wildly overpriced, but especially when we're talking about EVs and Teslas, they're taking crazy depreciation hits over the past couple years. So if you're paying $55,000 for a brand new one in 2026, it's going to be worth a fraction of that in just a couple of years. Not something that I would want to deal with whatsoever. And something that I'd like to add, it depends on what state you live in the country. But of course, it's not just the car payments, it's the insurance, the gas, the maintenance that goes along with it, and possibly a vehicle registration renewal. Most of the time, it depends on the value of your car, and it could be a ton of money, especially if you're buying something brand new. This person on screen had to pay an extra $920. Where I live in North Carolina, you have to pay a percentage of the value of your vehicle every single year to the state. Along with all the other expenses of owning a vehicle, it could get unbelievably expensive.
And how much you end up paying a month? How much you end up paying a month? Too much. What's too much?
Where we getting ready to take a picture at?
Right here.
Oh, by this car?
Yeah, by your new car. Came in for an oil change.
I know, right?
Now you left with more debt. But how much you pay a month?
Throw this tissue at you.
How much you pay a month?
$520.
There you go.
What?
0 down. The goose egg.
$520 a month for a hopefully already pretty heavily depreciated Jeep Grand Cherokee when this person was only coming in for an oil change. I don't know the value of the car that they had initially, but they'd probably traded it in, and now most likely you're stuck in another payment cycle for what, 5, 6, 7 years possibly? And by the time those payments are finally done, that Jeep is going to be almost worthless. Stellantis has been having a real tough time over the past few years.
Carmax has to be stopped. This is a 2015 Nissan Altima S, meaning that it doesn't have a backup camera, base model, no frills, no features, and they want 12 grand for this. Check this out. Now this one's locked, I can't show you the inside, but check this out. 12 grand for a 2015 Nissan S with 126,000 miles. This thing's going to need a new transmission the moment you drive this off the lot. $308 a month for 72 months. Look at this, 72-month term without a down payment. Meaning you could put a down payment down and bring this down maybe 20 bucks, but you're still paying close to $300 a month in 2025 for a car with no backup camera, cloth seats, and a horrendous CVT. To top it off, look at this. They tried to polish the lights, but they didn't do a very good job.
And then Carmax will be shocked that it'll just sit on their lot forever. 12 grand and over 120,000 miles on a Nissan? A decade-old base model Nissan, I should add. Who's going to pay that kind of money? Nobody. I just don't understand where they're pulling these numbers. And I know some of the salesmen try to play into this to get engagement on their TikTok or possibly bring in clients, but still, I don't know why any of them are surprised that less people are buying.
So what's the biggest hiccup on why you haven't bought a car yet? If you're looking at buying a car and you haven't bought it yet, what's the biggest reason you haven't bought it yet? Tell me in the comments, maybe I can help. And follow Ramsey Sells Cars.
So this clip had 27 likes and 423 comments. Costs too much. You guys want $45,000 for a mid-size pickup and $85,000 for a full-size. Does that answer the question? The price is not a mystery. They're all still $10,000 too high. Interest rates and MSRP is too high. $70,000 for an extended full-size SUV is absurd. I was actually going to buy a brand new F-250, but the price has surpassed the quality. Overpriced because a Ford Focus could cost up to $40,000. And if you wanted to comfortably afford the best-selling vehicle in America, you're going to have to make a lot more money than you probably think.
So does anyone else besides me think how crazy it is that the Ford F-Series is currently the #1 vehicle sold in the United States? However, most Americans are currently in debt affording this car. So let's see how much you need to make to comfortably afford a 2025 Ford F-150. So the total price of this Ford F-150 XLT came out to be right around $54,000. However, when you multiply it by 7% sales tax, you get a brand new total of around $57,000. Taking the total price of the vehicle, adding 20% down, financed at 5% for a total of 60 months, you're left with a total monthly payment of around $872. So the annual insurance cost for a Ford F-150 is going to be right around $2,400 a year, so it's roughly going to be around $206 a month. The annual maintenance cost on a brand new Ford F-150 is going to be right around $788 a year, so that's roughly going to be around $65 a month if you were to budget this out. And after we add all of this together, we're left with a total monthly payment of around $1,100 a month. And if you were to multiply this by 10%, you'll find your monthly gross income, then multiply this by 12 to find your annual gross income. And you roughly should be making around $137,000 a year to be able to very comfortably afford a 2025 Ford F-150.
And with all the F-150s that you inevitably see on the road, do you think each one of them are making almost $140,000 a year? I doubt it. And we're not even talking about the F-250s or 350s from any of the other manufacturers as well. That gets wildly more expensive. So that's how we have a total of over $1.6 trillion worth of car debt in the US. Now we could go over to a Mustang segment in this video. I found a couple of them just talking about Mustangs alone. We'll roll it.
This car has been on our lot longer than I have, and I don't know why. Behind me is the 2023 Mustang GT Premium, and here's 3 reasons this car should be gone already. Reason number 1 that this car should be gone is it has just over 10,000 miles on it. That's only 5,000 miles a year. Reason number 2 this car should be gone is it's actually purple and not black. This paint color is called Purple Mischievous Metallic. Reason number 3 this car has to go. Listen to this exhaust. In all honesty, we just got this car in last night, and I just started today. But if you're watching this video, I can sell it to you for $42,991. Let me know in the comments, would you drive a purple Mustang?
$42,000? Are you out of your mind? That's what a new one costs. Trade-in on Kelley Blue Book, assuming it's in very good condition, is between $35,000 and $39,000. And we all know it's most definitely not towards the high end, and seeing how your dealership has a 2.5 star rating and the internet price is already $1,000 cheaper than what you stated, I'm assuming the price of this vehicle with the sales department did not go over well after posting this video. It's almost like they're trying to get you into the dealership because then you're already taking the steps to purchase, and then they'll hit you with all of those extra hidden fees, and no wonder why they have 2.5 star rating online. But for some people, it does not matter. They're gonna wreck their finances just to afford one. Imagine not getting your dream car because you're scared of a loan. With the red Mustang on screen, when all you do is work to afford a $1,200 car payment. And again, yet another Mustang. Hopefully it's the GT, at least. But we could go over to the comments. $1,200 a month Mustang and didn't get a GT 500. Is this rage bait? The creator responds, I got a 460 credit score. I don't know if he's truthful about that. He's probably just playing into the bait. But as we've seen on this channel, people with that bad a credit score have still tried to purchase vehicles to show off to others, no matter how bad the payments could get. Another one here, $780 a month lease, $2,000 down, first time buyer for a 2026 Tacoma. For a lease, bro, $780 for a lease. $700 on a lease is wild. Unlimited miles, tires and maintenance, etc. And then the salesman replies, bro, it's a trail hunter. I thought $700 a month loan was bad. Again, the response, this is a trail hunter, as if anybody cares. And I'm not saying that I don't like cars and that it would be nice to have a fancy vehicle, a sports car, something along the lines of that. But the things that some of these people do or try to justify for the trim level is just absolutely off the walls for me. Another comment here, worked at a Ford dealership from 99 to 2015, and one of the most important things that I learned was just because it's new doesn't make it reliable. I think you could really lump in all manufacturers in the modern day when we're talking about the lack of quality and reliability. They truly just don't make them like they used to. And now when we're talking about the maintenance for these new vehicles, especially the luxury manufacturers, you better be making a ton of money because nothing is going to be cheap.
Speaking of oil change, I just called Mercedes and them said $800 for service B. I won't be accepting any more texts this month, any more phone calls this month, unless it comes with some money. I'm sorry, that's all I got. That's all I got. Like,
It's only $800. How'd you buy a luxury car and can't handle the maintenance? People love to see that badge on the vehicle though. Everyone wants a luxury car until it comes time to get something fixed. Hit the nail right on the head there. Another comment here, I used to wonder how so many people could afford all of their new homes and 2 new cars. As I got older, I realized everyone's broke, especially when you start seeing deals like this 2024 Chevy 2500. The APR is almost 21%, $1,600 a month for 72 months. The total amount of payments will be almost $115,000 for this thing. There's no way on planet Earth that this would be worth it at all. 20% APR. Did you sell this truck to someone with a FICO score of 300? Repo guy following home, $1,500 for a used truck. There are tons of clips like this and new ways that they're trying to get more customers in when your new 2026 is only $500 a month for a Kia K5, but it's got that nice fancy red interior. For some reason, people equate that to luxury, even though it's still a Kia at the end of the day. And another example of trying to make $500 a month seem cheap. I don't know, with today's climate, I feel like a lot of people would like to have an extra $500 a month. $500 a month for car payments? Lord, in this economy, exactly what I just said. Some people are paying $800 to $1,000. I mean, it's like I'm a broken record. They're saying the exact same things over and over again, these salesmen. It's not that bad. At least it's not $1,000 or $1,200. That's what I see all the time. Another one of the tactics up on screen I've seen recently, 2026 Camry with a pink interior. So now red isn't cool enough. You want the pink interior. Who do you think they're trying to sell this to? And I guess it's working. I'll trade in my 2025 XSE right now. You're telling me I could have done this with my 86? So you're saying I should trade in my car? The creator replies, yes, I'm saying that. Go ahead, roll your negative equity into another vehicle just with different colored seats. Genius. It really is never ending. Me with $18,000 and then me without $18,000 with a Toyota Supra and a $1,582 monthly payment. There's no way that's your payment. That's 20% APR. I mean, I don't really hate the way the new Supra looks. I think the Mark IV is much better, and I feel most people think that way too. But for almost $2,000 a month, there's no way I would ever buy it. But we can move on to the modern tech that comes along with these wildly overpriced new vehicles.
You guys, check out the window controls on my new car. This is so cool. My old car had separate buttons for each window so I could just feel it. But then I was wasting all this time looking at the road, paying attention to where I was going. Now, if I want to roll down the back window, I can stare down on my knees and fumble around with a touchscreen the size of an almond, all while I'm traveling at 70 miles an hour. The really cool part too is sometimes it doesn't even work. Kind of keeps things exciting. So massive shout out to Volkswagen for this huge step forward in human progress.
Now, I know part of the problem with modern vehicles is that there's a ton of rules in the US. Regulations when it comes to the engine and how efficient it could be, on top of tons of different safety regulations, right? And in a way, I understand, but when it comes to this type of new tech, how is this kind of stuff even allowed? The giant screens that you have to stare at and click through several different option menus just to be able to turn on the AC, how is that safe when you're driving on the road? Same thing with the example on the windows right there. You're not paying attention for a second or two because you have to look at the touchscreen and then be able to use the windows correctly, and then you have no idea what's been happening on the road at that time. Sounds like a really easy way for people to get into way more accidents. All I want are buttons. No more screens, just buttons. Everything after this was a mistake with a lot of the knobs we've seen on older cars. Bad news for fans of the living. I really don't understand how a lot of these apparent new features even get past safety regulations. And to keep on with the modern infotainment screens, it's only a matter of time until they run ads on your 3-screen dashboard. Every time you turn on the car, you're gonna have to sit there for 30 seconds while you're just getting hammered by Coca-Cola and Red Bull ads. I know it sounds ridiculous in 2025, but I'd like to see what happens in 2035. But let's go back over to the dealership with the salesman paying ludicrous amounts of money for their vehicles that are all, of course, financed as well.
I'm Ed Howard. I've worked at this dealership for 15 years, and I'm thinking I probably spent $300,000 in cars that I've purchased. Oh my God, no wonder I'm so broke.
Hi, my name's Alicia. I've been here for 13 years. I think I spent maybe 400 grand on cars here. Yikes.
Hi, I'm Matt Liebig. I've worked here for 15 years. I think I've spent $300,000 on cars.
I'm Chris. I've been here for 8 months now. I think I've spent probably 100 grand. Ouch.
Hi, my name's Alex. I've been here for about 18 years, and I think I've probably spent somewhere between, let's just say, $500,000 to $600,000 on all my cars. That's a lot more than that.
So all the numbers we saw in this clip are life-changing amounts of money, but all that money disappears because you wanted to buy a brand new BMW over and over again. I know the MSRP was probably much lower than all of the total cost that they paid over time, so that's how much extra money they lost due to financing. Financially irresponsible final bosses. $1.3 million in 15 years is around $87,000 a year. That guy is giving his employer more money per year than my employer pays me per year. Again, all to just be in the newest model BMW year after year, instead of legitimately being able to retire years before you think. Can't say it's worth it in my opinion.
Bro, please tell me this is a joke, right? I'm just trying to figure out, how do you owe $25,000 on a Mercedes that has 170,000 miles?
When I got out of high school, I wasn't really too smart about the car finances and stuff like that. It was pretty much blindly signed. It was a 26% interest rate. I got it from Carmax. Originally, the note was like 500 something plus the Carmax gears, stuff like that. So it went up to 600. After tax, 628 or 668.
But you said you bought the car in 2021?
Yeah, 2021.
4 years later, if you bought it for 25, how you still owe 25? How much do you have down?
Credit score 580. Now I don't have anything really down. I'm like an Amazon driver.
Time being, just use the car and just be careful if they're gonna pick it up. But I mean, if that's your only mode of transportation, hustle for a year or two, get your credit up, and then when you have a 700 credit score, You climb the Amazon ladder and go get a car, nice car. But right now, the situation is when people see luxury cars and high interest rates, they don't really think about getting it to this point.
But you getting right out of high school, your mind's set on that Mercedes that you saw at Carmax. We saw the example earlier and how bad the Nissan deal was. This Mercedes one with 170,000 miles is way worse. Spending $25,000, still owing $25,000 4 years later as an Amazon driver, but you needed that luxury badge. He kind of made it sound like it was possibly getting repoed in the future as well. I mean, the entire situation is just a mess. Who buys a Mercedes just out of high school? You have to flex though, right? What are these interest rates? The average Canadian interest rate are 5 to 10%. That would probably be with some pretty solid credit, but 580 is pretty low. Seeing these videos have convinced me I will never own a car again. I mean, if you could somehow manage, maybe if you live in a city where you work from home and the grocery store is super close, but most of the time when we're talking about the US, you almost need some sort of transportation. Now, a new vehicle that's been popping up that I'm going to see into the future, if anybody purchases, will lose a massive amount of money, is the one up on screen right now. They have a Nissan Armada Nismo version starting to show up on lots today. I personally don't really like the way it looks. Kind of just looks like a riced out vehicle, but it's from the manufacturer. And we go over to the comments. It's going to sit for 2 years. That's a cute oversized Nissan Cube. All that for 6 seconds, 0 to 60. Recalls coming in soon. And of course, there's consistent issues with Nissan as a whole, but the other problem is the 2026 Nissan Armada Nismo starts at an MSRP of $81,720. For a Nissan, you're paying $80,000 for a Nissan. It's going to be funny looking at it just a few years in the future. The depreciation hit is going to be unreal. And now with all the examples that you've seen on this channel, on the news, everybody's really talking about it. Many are looking at just purchasing older, reliable vehicles. 1999 Toyota Tacoma available on our lot now. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape, right? A smaller, reliable work truck, nothing fancy, but will get the job done. Then we go over to the comments. It's listed for almost $14,000 on their website. I get it, it'll probably run and last forever, but still 14 grand. It really does seem like there is no winning in this situation. But we'll finish off the video with this clip.
I'm learning the hard way that just because you can make a payment on something doesn't mean that you can afford it. For 30 years, I have lived with a mindset of if I want it, I'm going to get it. I didn't care what it affected or who it affected, if it was going to cause us to not meet one of our goals or if it was going to cause us to live paycheck to paycheck. And now I'm 48 years old. I've already lived half of my life, and I'm just now figuring out what that mindset actually cost me, which was peace, progress, and a whole lot of missed opportunities. And yeah, you know, unfortunately, I'm learning the hard way, and it has cost my family, and it has cost me. Here I am stuck in a car that I had to have 2 years ago, financed $78,000 for it. I pay $1,100 a month. I owe $57,000 on it, and they appraised it for $40,000. And we don't even own our own home yet.
That'll be a very similar story with anybody trying to buy that previous Nismo Armada, but so many people live in this type of mindset and then are surprised that they could never get ahead financially. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.